Hey guys, welcome back. It's Brown Chubby Bear for Political Bear Nation. Today, I'm going to unpack the GOP budget proposal and tell you exactly what's in it. Let's start with the massive new healthcare changes. The Republican budget adds new work and reporting requirements for Medicaid recipients. Now, this might sound reasonable, right? If you want benefits, you need to work. But here's the reality. Most people on Medicaid already work. Roughly 60% of non-elderly adults enrolled in Medicaid have jobs, often in retail, food service, education, and even in healthcare itself. Millions are already putting in 30, 40, or even 50 hours a week, but without affordable employer-based healthcare coverage. Adding more hurdles to get benefits doesn't increase employment. It creates technical barriers that push people off coverage. And that's unfortunately why Republicans have added this measure while claiming they are trying to get rid of waste and abuse in the system. Don't fall for it. When Arkansas tried a similar system, 18,000 people lost Medicaid. Many because they missed a confusing paperwork deadline, not because they weren't working. This policy isn't about encouraging work. It's about shrinking healthcare access quietly and making it look like it's an actual choice. At least 8.6 million Americans are projected to lose coverage because of this single change, and it doesn't stop there. This bill also strips Medicaid funding from providers like Planned Parenthood, eliminating access to services like cancer screenings and birth control for millions of Americans. Republicans claim it's because they don't want to fund abortions, but federal dollars can't fund abortions already. That's already the law. This simply punishes organizations for their political views. In 2024, Planned Parenthood conducted over 426,000 cancer screenings over the entire year. How does taking away their funding make any sense? Planned Parenthood makes up 0.078% of Medicaid funding. Yes, that's less than 1% of Medicaid funding. That's what they're choosing to go after. The bill also eliminates the enhanced subsidies under Obama's Affordable Care Act that millions of Americans rely on to afford private insurance. Experts estimate 13.7 million more people could be uninsured due to these cuts. Without insurance, everyday illnesses turn into emergencies. That means emergency rooms, which are already strained, become the first and only stop for medical care for millions of Americans. But emergency care isn't free. And when patients can't pay, hospitals lose revenue. And when hospitals have to treat too many patients that can't pay their bills, those hospitals close down, especially in rural areas. Since 2010, more than 140 rural hospitals have shut down, leaving millions of Americans with no nearby emergency care whatsoever. So even if you don't personally rely on Medicaid or the Affordable Care Act, your access to healthcare will likely get worse. These healthcare changes are nothing short of cruelty. And for what? To extend tax cuts for the rich? If you're a millionaire or a billionaire, it's
champagne wishes and caviar dreams.
This budget makes Trump's 2017 tax cuts permanent, ensuring that millionaires and billionaires continue to enjoy deep, lasting tax breaks. Those that make over $1 million a year are going to get an extra $80,000 tax cut. But how are Republicans trying to sell you this plan? If you're a middle-class American making around $55,000 a year, your tax cut is about $510. And if you make under $29,000 a year, you will save just about $110. That doesn't even come close to the healthcare that you just lost. The budget also cements the corporate tax rate at 21%. That's where it's been since 2017, but this does not address the loopholes that allow the most profitable corporations to pay far less. For example, Tesla made $10.8 billion in the U.S. over the past 3 years, but they only paid $48 million in federal taxes. That's an effective tax rate of 0.4%. Trump is really looking out for his bestie. They're not the only ones. Netflix paid an effective tax rate of 1.6%. So I'm not just singling out Tesla here. But the Dodge cuts already handicap the IRS. And without closing these loopholes, millionaires, billionaires, and corporations will be able to continue taking advantage of the American taxpayer. Because at the end of the day, if they aren't paying their fair share, you end up paying for it somehow, whether that's in tax hikes or reduced government services. So far, the big beautiful bill fails on healthcare and fair taxation. and it only gets worse from there. The Republican budget proposes cutting SNAP food assistance by almost $300 billion. At a time when grocery prices have risen over 22% since 2020, their response is to reduce food support for millions of low-income families. And it's not just SNAP. Heating assistance for low-income families, school lunches for children, all face cuts under this budget. That means 6 million American households will freeze next winter, and they won't even be able to see a doctor when they get sick. All so millionaires and billionaires can make a little more money that they don't even really need. And how is it being sold to you? Republicans are selling it by saying that they want to get rid of waste and abuse. But for some reason, they never seem to want to get rid of that waste, fraud, and abuse that are committed by millionaires and billionaires. Funny how that works out, right? If they really wanted to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, they would reform bonus depreciation and the Section 1990A deduction. These are tools that are supposed to generate business investment, but they are abused to avoid paying taxes. It's estimated that these two tools alone cost American taxpayers $40 billion a year. But here are Republicans trying to claim they are reducing waste and abuse when the real abuse is sitting there right in front of their face. They also want to raise the retirement age for Social Security, which will delay access to full benefits for millions of Americans. The full retirement age would be pushed to up to 69 years old. This effectively reduces lifetime Social Security benefits, and it doesn't do anything to actually solidify the Social Security Trust Fund. Here's the harsh reality. Upper-income Americans live to be about 87 years old, but working-class Americans, on average, make it to 72, and the poorest of Americans, they don't even make it to 69. I hate to say it this way, I really do, but Republicans want you to work until your last dying breath. And raising the age means many working-class Americans won't ever see a dime from Social Security at all. If you're a regular viewer on this channel, you probably remember my recommendation that a simple 1% wealth tax on anyone that has a net worth of $50 million or more would instantly reduce the gap between the benefits we need to pay out and what is in the Social Security Trust Fund. But of course, Republicans won't even entertain a wealth tax. They'd rather just make hardworking Americans work longer and longer and longer. And it doesn't just stop with Social Security. They're trying to take away your Medicare as well. Instead of a guaranteed public benefit, seniors would receive a voucher to buy private insurance. These vouchers won't rise with medical inflation, meaning over time, seniors will pay more and get less. It would also repeal provisions from the Inflation Reduction Act. One of these things is a $2,000 annual cap on out-of-pocket prescription drug costs and remove Medicare's ability to negotiate drug prices. So you'll pay higher drug prices too. This is just privatization dressed up in a language designed to obscure the real cost. And don't get fooled by Trump's recent executive order, where he claims it will reduce drug prices by 80%. It's not legal. Drug manufacturers will take this to court, and they will win just like they did last time. He doesn't try to use Congress. He does everything by the pen, and it almost never works. And after all this, after all the cuts to healthcare, retirement, and food programs, the budget still adds $4 trillion to the national deficit. So little Debbie can only have $2.05 pencils, but millionaires and billionaires keep making bank? The Republican budget isn't about tough choices. It's about protecting wealth and shifting risk downward onto working families, the sick, the elderly, and the poor. And if we don't push back now, it will be your community, your children, not billionaires who pay the price. Are you angry yet? Good. If we don't stop this bill, it will hurt all of us. Not red states, not blue states, all of us. Use that anger to call, write, tweet, and tell Congress this big, beautiful bill belongs in the trash. Until next time, this is Brown Chubby Bear from Political Bear Nation.
Political bears on an untamed ride, roaring through truths, the left and the right, setting the stage for a wild insight. Political Bear Nation ready to